Do you guys remember from the Jack Murphy file dump stream where I showed this image? I kind of glossed over it because there was so much to cover, but I've thought about it a lot because this is exactly in my wheelhouse, right? I have a degree in exercise science and physiology, and the more I think about it, the more I start to recognize the implications for masculinity, men within the liminal order, male culture in general, and dating. So yes, dating and relationships. So this is something that affects men and women both, even though it's usually presented as a very male-centric thing. This is a symptom of an extremely destructive problem within masculinity, the manosphere, male dating advice communities, and I'm bringing receipts. I was going to make this video as a rant because the topic makes me absolutely furious, but after a bit of digging, I realized that I really need to show receipts and bring home the bigger point here. Because let's be clear, once again, this isn't about Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy is a medium to discuss a much larger problem. So let me begin here. In this Facebook video, it's still publicly accessible. It's called something like "Why Raw Eggs Represent Everything the Left Hates." Jack Murphy espouses fitness and physical health. Take a look.
Right. And the very first thing that we put in front of guys is a set of fitness standards. And we ask everybody to work towards fitness standards, adhere to them, strength, conditioning, mobility, outside time, meditation, thoughtfulness, even blood work.
So it wasn't a huge shock to a lot of people that in that file dump stream, we came across that photo. Well, I did some digging on that photo and why it was associated with Jack Murphy. And this is what I found. An article, which will be linked in the description, where he espouses the use of steroids, specifically stating that he's running testosterone and trenbolone. Now, for the sake of clarity, I'm going to take a quick detour to explain to the uninitiated what exactly trenbolone is and what the implications are here. So specifically in the case of Jack Murphy, because I promise you, this is pertinent. Just let me get to the point. Here's a quick overview of what trenbolone is. Essentially, trenbolone is a steroid that was developed for use in livestock to give them an increased muscle growth and appetite so that they could gain more size before slaughter. It is not meant for and should not be used for humans, ever, under any circumstances. Here's a quick list of side effects for tren. Okay, cholesterol and high blood pressure, testosterone suppression. So essentially, you're giving your body fake testosterone so it stops making it on its own, right? Gynecomastia, so that's where you get the fat under your nipples, so it gives you like female breasts essentially. Acne vulgaris, you get bad acne. Male pattern baldness. Visceral fat, that means fat around your organs. That's toxic, it can kill you. Anxiety and depression. Tren cough, so respiratory issues, and virilization in women, essentially clitoral enlargement, weird body hair, stuff like that. So these are just some of the side effects of tren, right? These are the big ones. And this is from Inside Bodybuilding. So these are people who understand the use of it day to day. This is referenced by a doctor an endocrinologist who actually gives this stuff out, or does, I shouldn't say gives stuff out. He educates people on the use of it. How about that? He educates people on the use of it because I don't know anywhere where this stuff is actually legal to be used for humans. Definitely not in the US, right? But there's so much more. Sorry, I'm getting angry right now. I'm really getting angry. Jack presents his cocktail of steroids as a way to get ripped. Look at this. He says, I went from obese and disgusting to having veins popping out of my lower abs, veins cutting across my thighs, and deep V-cuts to complement my six-pack. Now, besides the obvious fact that Jack Murphy Goldman has none of these physical attributes that he describes here, come on, we've all seen the videos, right? What is the implicit message here? Hey guys, this blend of compounds made me into a Greek god. It can work for you too. Oh, but it gets worse. Another side effect of trenbolone that was not discussed in that article is an extreme propensity to more and more devious sexual behavior. Now, I'm going to be the first to recognize that these compounds affect everyone differently, and some people are more capable of dealing with the side effects, but all you have to do is go to any bodybuilding forum or subreddit and search trend stories, and you will find stuff like this. This is from the More Plates, More Dates subreddit. It says, and by the way, it's crazy, right? It says, started trend, don't know what to jerk off to anymore. My last trend cycle made me ridiculously horny, including this one. Give me all the shit you want, but my kink is cuckold stuff. But now, I don't have a girlfriend to do that with. I went too far down the rabbit hole with my kink in my last relationship. We broke up, and now I don't know what to jerk it to anymore. Porn doesn't work. Actual sex with other girls doesn't work. Looking at old videos doesn't work. What do? I think what to do. I recently slept with a girl I met from Tinder. Straight up could not ejaculate. Sex was fun. I get turned on. I just can't get turned on enough to make it to the finish line. Now, compare that to the behavior of all of the stuff that Jack Murphy exhibited. The cuckoldry stuff, the rape article, all of it. This is very on brand for untrained Trenbolone users. Is this what happened to Jack Murphy? Was it trend that really pushed out the most devious behavior that was lurking under the surface? Maybe. But my friends, the implications are worse even than that. Think about this. 700 members of the Liminal Order, all men taking advice from Jack and others like him, all exposed to this utter nonsense about steroids, all being told that Trenbolone is the answer. Let's say even 10% of them took Tren. What then? What happens when they bring in the sexual power dynamics, the not rape, but rape philosophy like that Jack Murphy talked about in that article that I will link in the description, and the other unspeakable behaviors when they bring that into their own dating lives? What happens when they're made to believe that what women really want is violence and domination during sex, and then they put themselves into under the influence of an extremely neurotoxic substance like Trenbolone that skyrockets their anxiety and their impulsivity? This is a horrific thought, and the more you know about Tren, the worse it is. But guys, it gets even worse. I wanted to look at how this translates to the masculinity coaches and alpha models at large, and the results were shocking. All right, they were not positive in any way. In fact, the deceit from these masculinity gurus is unfathomable, because I had to dig for several hours just to find this, because they hide it very well. Take a look at this. This is an article written by one John Anthony, a masculinity coach who wrote for Roosh V's site. If you don't know who Roosh V is, he's like an old school pickup artist guy, just in a lot of people's opinion, just a total sleazebag who reduces women and men and their relationship to something like the hunt by an animal. That's essentially what happens here. He wrote for Roosh V's site Return of the Kings, which is on hiatus, by the way, because I think it's because it kept getting attacked and shut down because of the crazy stuff that was being said. This is a guy who's he's advocating the use of SARMs for regular people. What are SARMs? All right, let's take a look. Okay, SARMs are selective androgen receptor modulators, essentially androgenic steroids, right? They're here. I'll just read this here. It says they're a class of therapeutic compounds that have similar anabolic properties to anabolic steroids, but with reduced androgenic properties. Okay, so they're essentially the same type of thing, right? They're PEDs. They're banned everywhere. You shouldn't use them, right? But this guy is advertising that there's something to be looked upon as like a new frontier, right? So here's the question. Okay, since these are different from anabolic steroids, are they okay to use? No. Here is a concise explanation of why by Healthline. Androgenic steroids are known to increase muscle development, but are accompanied by a host of undesirable side effects. Remember, androgenic steroids, SARMs. For men, this often means things like acne, breast development, aka gyno, enlarged prostate, shrinking of the testicles. Women may experience increased body hair growth, acne, and have increased clitoral size. More serious health concerns include liver damage, numerous cardiovascular complications, including increased risk of heart attack and blood clots. Does that sound safe? But look how this guy advertises his exercise program. This is the level of misdirection that goes on with this stuff. Of course, he's not going to mention that to get results like he did, you have to run a comparable compound to him, aka SARMs, right? Take a look. I don't think I need to explain the deviousness of that much further, right? I don't think I need to. The point is, masculinity today has been completely redefined by the left as a quiet, subdued, and properly subservient man. While these ridiculous masculinity coaches masquerading around as stalwart conservative men like Jack Murphy are projecting an avatar of manliness based completely on unrealistic and ridiculous physical characteristics that are unattainable without the aid of inorganic compounds. It's gotten so bad, in fact, that there are dozens and dozens of cases where young TikTokers, male and female both, are openly using SARMs and Tren, trying to get that godlike influencer body. A six-pack is no longer enough. You must be entirely chiseled and shredded. It's absurd. If you want to see more on this, go to the More Plates, More Dates channel where he does breakdowns of like how SARMs and steroids actually affect like a normal person who doesn't run them quote-unquote properly. Now look, let me go off on this little tangent for a second. There is a quote-unquote proper way to use steroids, and it usually is extremely expensive, includes the help of a endocrinologist, and it's going in with the understanding that, hey, there are going to be side effects, and this could take years off your life. And the only, in my opinion, the only reason that a person nowadays could justify the use of steroids, other than a medical condition, of course, is if they want to be an open level bodybuilder, strongman, or powerlifter. And even then, like, you've got to understand, when you go into that sport, you must recognize that years are going to come off of your life because of what you're giving to that sport. But if you've come to terms with that and you're okay with it, I'm not completely opposed to the use of steroids in those open divisions, because people are going to use them anyway. So I mean, what do you do in those sports? That's an entirely different conversation. I'm open to, hearing both sides of it. But that's, I wanted to go on that brief tangent. Anyways, here is the point for me. Jack Murphy has provided a jumping off point for the topics of masculinity, dating, the true place of men in our culture, and right-wing grifters. This is why it's such an important topic, and I'm not shutting up about it. We are in line to create an entire generation of self-obsessed men who only know how to exert dominance over women instead of creating a properly appropriate cooperative dynamic. This needs to be an intergenerational topic of cultural conversation. Why? Because without this conversation, your sons will grow up thinking that the way these deviants act and the way they treat women is normal and acceptable, and your daughters will suffer for it. Recognize the truth in this sentence. Neglect the young men, and they will come back to burn the village. Proper education on masculinity is pivotal for both young men and young women. You can follow me on Twitter at SeattleIJ. Please comment on this video and let me know your thoughts. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to, subscribe if you haven't, so that you can get a notification when I do live streams. Because I discuss these ideas and I talk to the chat. I want to hear everybody's ideas. I don't want to just sit here and bloviate, right? I'm going to be going live tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.